In this video, we will learn 10 new words through short stories. It might seem like a small step, but in 100 days, you will easily learn 1,000 words, which is a big achievement. To help you learn better, please watch each video twice. At the end of the video, try to make your own sentences using the new words you've learned. Stay with us and let's explore today's new words. The mysterious algorithm that changed my life. I never believed in magic, but that was before I met the algorithm. It all started on a cold evening when I was sitting in my tiny apartment, scrolling through job listings. I had lost my job 2 months ago, and my savings were disappearing fast. Desperate, I clicked on an ad that said, "Unlock the secret to success with our powerful algorithm." I laughed. It sounded like a scam. But something inside me whispered, what if it's real? Curious, I signed up. The website claimed their algorithm could predict the perfect career for anyone. All I had to do was answer a few questions. I typed in my name, age, and interest. The algorithm processed my answers in seconds and then, on the screen, a single word appeared. Programming. I frowned. I had never written a line of code in my life. But the website insisted. Trust the algorithm. Start learning today. I hesitated. Could an algorithm know me better than I knew myself? That night I couldn't sleep. The word programming kept repeating in my head. The next morning, I downloaded a beginner coding app. I struggled with the first few lessons, but something strange happened. I enjoyed it. Day after day, I kept learning. The algorithm had been right. Weeks later, I applied for a junior coding job. My heart raced as I waited for a response. Then, one day, an email arrived. Congratulations! You have been selected for an interview. Tears filled my eyes. I couldn't believe it. All because of an algorithm I almost ignored. The day of the interview, I sat in front of the hiring manager, nervous but excited. "How did you get into programming?" he asked. I smiled. "It's a long story. But let's just say an algorithm changed my life."
The innovation that saved my father's life. My father was an inventor. He always believed that innovation could change the world. When I was a child, he used to say, "Remember, Emma, every great thing starts with an innovation." But now he was lying in a hospital bed, too weak to move. A rare disease had attacked his lungs. Doctors said there was no cure. I refused to believe it. I searched everywhere for a solution. One night, I read about a new medical innovation, a device that could help his lungs recover. It was still in the testing phase, but I had no other choice. Contacted the scientist who created it. "Please," I begged. "My father needs your innovation." He hesitated. "It's not ready yet." Tears filled my eyes. "Then help me make it ready." For weeks I worked with him, learning how the device functioned. The innovation was simple but brilliant, using tiny air sensors to improve breathing. I studied every detail, hoping, praying. Finally, the day came. We installed the device for my father. The room was silent as we waited. A minute passed, then another, and then he took a deep breath. Tears rolled down my cheeks. The innovation had worked. Days later, my father smiled at me from his hospital bed. "Emma," he whispered, "you prove that true innovation isn't just about new ideas. It's about never giving up." I held his hand, realizing that he was right. Innovation isn't just technology. Innovation is hope.
The day I learned why cybersecurity matters. I had always ignored cybersecurity. I thought it was something only big companies needed. I was wrong. It all started on a normal Monday morning. I woke up, checked my phone, and saw an email from my bank. Suspicious activity detected. Click here to verify your account. I panicked. I clicked the link without thinking. The website looked just like my bank. I entered my username and password. Seconds later, my phone buzzed again, another email. Your password has been changed. I froze. I hadn't changed anything. My heart pounded as I tried to log in again. Incorrect password. Someone had stolen my account. I called the bank, but it was too late. The hacker had already transferred money from my account. My savings gone. I felt sick. How could this happen? Then I remembered my friend Alex, an expert in cybersecurity. I called him immediately. "Alex, help me. I think I got hacked." "Did you click on any strange links?" he asked. I swallowed hard. "Yes." "That was a phishing scam," he said. "Hackers trick you into giving them your information. You need better cybersecurity." He helped me secure my account's new passwords, two-factor authentication, everything. Then he said, "You got lucky. Some people lose everything. Cybersecurity isn't just for big companies. It's for everyone." That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how easy it had been for the hacker. I had ignored cybersecurity, and I had paid the price. The next day, I started reading about cybersecurity. I learned about strong passwords, avoiding suspicious links, and protecting my data. A week later, Alex called. "Did you learn your lesson?" I laughed. "Yes. Now I tell everyone never ignore cybersecurity." Biotechnology gave my sister a second chance. When my little sister, Lily, was diagnosed with a rare disease, our world fell apart. The doctors said there was no cure. But I refused to accept that. I spent hours researching, reading every article I could find. That's when I discovered biotechnology. Biotechnology was changing medicine, creating new treatments that didn't exist before. Maybe, just maybe, it could help Lily. I found a scientist working on a biotechnology treatment for her disease. It was still experimental, but it gave me hope. I rushed to my parents. "There's a new biotechnology treatment. It might save Lily." My father shook his head. "It's not tested enough." "But without it, she has no chance," I argued. Desperate, I contacted the scientist. "Please, my sister needs your biotechnology treatment." He sighed. "It's risky. But if your family agrees, we can try." My parents hesitated, but when they saw Lily growing weaker, they finally said yes. The day of the treatment, I held Lily's hand. A small vial of biotechnology-based medicine was injected into her arm. And then we waited. Days passed. Lily remained weak. My heart sank. Had I made a mistake? Then, one morning, I heard laughter. Lily was sitting up in bed, smiling. "I feel better," she whispered. Tears filled my eyes. The biotechnology treatment had worked. The doctors were amazed. Biotechnology had done what medicine alone could not. Now, every time I hear the word biotechnology, I don't think of science. I think of hope.
Disconnected from the network, disconnected from life. The night the network went down, I lost everything. I worked for a big tech company, managing a complex network that connected thousands of users. Every email, video call, and transaction depended on it. It was my responsibility to keep the network running smoothly. Then, one evening, the screens went dark. The network was down. No internet, no data, no connection. Panic spread through the office. My boss stormed in. "Fix the network now." I typed furiously, searching for the problem. But something was wrong. This wasn't just a simple glitch, it was a full network failure. Hours passed. I traced the issue to a cyber attack. Someone had hacked into our network and shut it down. My heart raced. If I didn't fix it, the company would lose millions. I needed help. Called Liam, my best friend and a network security expert. "Liam, the network is under attack. I need you." He logged in remotely. "You're right. The hacker is inside the network. We have to block them before they do more damage." We worked together, battling the hacker in a digital war. Every time we closed a hole, they found another way in. Felt impossible. Then Liam had an idea. "Let's cut them off from the network completely." I hesitated. "If we shut down the whole network, we lose everything." "It's the only way," he insisted. Taking a deep breath, I pressed the final command. The entire network went offline. Silence filled the office. Minutes later, we restarted the network clean, secure, and safe. The hacker was gone. Relief washed over me. Our network was back, and so was my career. That night, I realized something important. A network isn't just about technology. It's about people, connections, and support. Without my network of friends, I would have failed. Now, every time I log into the network, I remember, no one succeeds alone.
The moment I stepped into the quantum world, I was always fascinated by science, but I never imagined that one day I would experience something beyond my wildest dreams. It all started when I got an internship at a cutting-edge lab that studied quantum physics. I had always heard about quantum mechanics in books, but I never fully understood it. The scientists at the lab worked with quantum computers, which were said to be capable of performing impossible calculations. But I thought it was all too complicated for me. One evening, the head scientist, Dr. Moore, invited me to watch a quantum experiment. "You've read about it, but seeing it in action will change everything," he said. I followed him into the lab, and there it was, a massive machine glowing with light. "This is a quantum computer," Dr. Moore explained. "It can process information in a way that traditional computers can't, using particles that exist in multiple states at once." I was confused. But how is that possible? Dr. Moore smiled. In the quantum world, particles can be in many places at the same time. This allows us to solve problems that would take regular computers thousands of years in just seconds. As he spoke, I saw something incredible. The quantum computer flickered and displayed patterns that changed rapidly. It was as if it could predict the future. My mind raced. I had heard that quantum physics could help us understand the universe, but now I was seeing it firsthand. I couldn't believe how powerful it was. Over the next few weeks, I learned more about quantum technology. The more I understood, the more I realized how little I knew. But what amazed me the most was that quantum physics wasn't just theoretical, it was real, and it was changing the world. One day, Dr. Moore turned to me and said, "You're starting to understand, aren't you? Quantum physics isn't about what we can see. It's about what we can't see, the possibilities." That's when it hit me. The quantum world isn't just a scientific concept. It's about embracing the unknown, the things we can't explain but can feel. It was the first time I understood that the universe wasn't just a set of rules, it was full of endless possibilities. From that day on, I looked at the world differently. Every moment felt like it had infinite possibilities, just like the quantum world. The mysterious data lost in the database. I never thought something as simple as a database could change my life. But here I am, sitting in front of a glowing screen, unsure of what's about to happen. A few weeks ago, I started a new job at a big tech company. My boss, Mr. Harris, gave me a project that seemed easy at first. Organize the company's information into a database. Simple, right? I had used databases before, but never worked with such large amounts of data. I quickly realized this was going to be much harder than I thought. The first day was fine. I arranged customer names, emails, and phone numbers into the database. But by the second day, the problems began. I couldn't find the data I needed. It was as if something was missing from the database. I spent hours searching, but it felt like I was digging through a giant pile of information with no clear way out. "Don't worry, Jack," my coworker Sarah said. "The database is huge. It's easy to get lost. You just need to understand how it's organized." But I still didn't get it. The database had so many layers, and the information seemed to be everywhere but where I needed it. I needed help. The next day, Mr. Harris called me into his office. "Jack, I've been watching your progress. You're doing well, but you need to understand something important. A database is not just a place to store information. It's about organizing that information in a way that makes it easy to find and use." I looked at him, still confused. He smiled and said, "Think of a database like a huge library. Each piece of data is like a book on a shelf. But if you don't organize the books correctly, no one will be able to find what they need." It made sense now. A database wasn't just a collection of random files. It was an organized system where each piece of data had a place. The challenge was to make sure the data was easy to access when someone needed it. For the next few days, I worked hard to reorganize the database. I sorted the data into different categories, added labels, and created a system for finding anything quickly. It wasn't easy, but soon the database started to make sense. By the end of the week, I finally saw the results of my hard work. Everything was in its place, and the data was easy to find. The database wasn't just a collection of information anymore, it was a tool that helped the company run smoothly. The robot that changed everything. I never imagined that one robot could change my life. It all started when I joined the robotics club at my university. I had always been curious about technology, but I didn't know much about robotics. I thought robots were just machines that did simple tasks, but I was about to learn something completely different. On my first day in the robotics lab, I met Professor Lewis. He was a smart, older man with glasses, and he welcomed me with a big smile. "Ethan, you're going to love robotics," he said. "It's not just about making robots move. It's about understanding how they think and how they can help us." That's when I realized that robotics was more than just building robots. It was about creating machines that could think, learn, and help solve real-world problems. Over the next few weeks, I learned about different types of robotics. We worked on robots that could pick up objects, follow simple commands, and even talk. Each robot had a specific function, and we had to program them to do their tasks correctly. One day, Professor Lewis gave us a new challenge. "I want you to build a robot that can help elderly people in their homes," he said. "It should be able to help with daily tasks like cooking, cleaning, and even reminding them to take their medicine." This is real robotics at work. I was excited and nervous at the same time. I worked with my team to design and build a robot that could help people. It was not easy. We faced many problems along the way, from the robot not moving correctly to the voice commands not working. But we didn't give up. We kept working, learning, and improving our robot. Finally, after weeks of hard work, we finished the robot. It could clean the floor, remind someone to take their medicine, and even make simple phone calls. The robot was a huge success. It showed me that robotics wasn't just about making machines. It was about using technology to make life easier and better for people. I couldn't believe how much I had learned in such a short time. Robotics was not just about machines. It was about the impact they could have on people's lives. From that day on, I knew I wanted to be part of this incredible world of robotics, where technology could change the world. The seeds of tomorrow. I always believed science was powerful, but I never imagined how much it could change the world. My journey into genetic engineering started in a small university lab, where I met Dr. Parker. He was an expert in genetic engineering, and he had an idea that would blow my mind. "Alex," he said, "genetic engineering is the future. It's about understanding how life works at the deepest level and using that knowledge to improve living things." At first, I didn't fully understand what he meant. Genetic engineering sounded complicated. But Dr. Parker explained that it was the process of changing the genes inside living organisms, like plants, animals, or even humans, to make them better. It's not magic, it's science. By changing a plant's DNA, for example, we could make it grow stronger, resist diseases, or even produce more food. One day, Dr. Parker showed me something incredible. He handed me a small, healthy tomato. "This," he said, "is the result of genetic engineering. We changed the genes of this tomato plant so it can grow in places where tomatoes normally wouldn't survive. It's a small change, but it can help farmers grow food in difficult environments." I was amazed. Genetic engineering wasn't just about creating new things, it was about solving problems that had existed for a long time. It was about using science to help people and the planet. Dr. Parker told me that genetic engineering could even help cure diseases by changing the genes inside humans to fix problems like cancer or genetic disorders. I wanted to learn more, so I spent hours working in the lab with Dr. Parker. Together, we studied how genetic engineering worked on different organisms, from plants to bacteria to animals. We learned how to take out bad genes and replace them with better ones. It was like editing a story, removing parts that didn't work and adding new parts to make the story better. Over time, I began to see the true power of genetic engineering. It could improve food, medicine, and even the environment. It could make the world a better place for everyone. But I also understood that with great power comes great responsibility. We had to use genetic engineering wisely and carefully. As I stood there holding a new plant that had been improved through genetic engineering, I realized how much potential science had to change the future. It wasn't just about science for the sake of science, it was about making the world better for all of us. The mind and machine connection. I was always fascinated by the idea of machines that could think, learn, and adapt. My interest in cybernetics began when I was just a teenager, but it wasn't until I met Professor Martin that I truly understood what cybernetics was all about. Professor Martin was a genius in the field of cybernetics, the study of how machines and living organisms can interact and communicate. One day, I walked into his office and he showed me a robot on his desk. It was a simple machine, but it could move, respond to light, and even avoid obstacles. "This," said Professor Martin, "is an example of cybernetics in action. It's the science of control and communication between machines and living beings. In simple terms, it's how we can make machines think and learn like humans." At first, I didn't fully understand what he meant, but Professor Martin explained that cybernetics was more than just robots. It was about understanding how systems work together, whether it's a machine, a human brain, or even the environment. The key idea was that cybernetics was the study of how information flows and how it can control actions in both machines and living organisms. We started working together on a project to develop a smart prosthetic arm. The arm would not only respond to the movements of the body, but also adapt to the user's needs. It was an amazing example of cybernetics in real life. The arm could communicate with the brain, sending and receiving signals to make it move smoothly. As we worked, I realized that cybernetics wasn't just about creating machines that could do human tasks. It was about merging technology with biology. The goal was to create systems that could work together in harmony, whether it was a robot learning to interact with its environment or a human using technology to improve their abilities. Professor Martin told me that cybernetics could change the world. It could help people with disabilities, improve artificial intelligence, and even help solve complex problems in medicine and engineering. The possibilities were endless. One evening, after months of work, we successfully connected the prosthetic arm to the human nervous system. When the patient moved their hand, the arm moved as if it were their own. It was a breakthrough, a perfect example of cybernetics in action.